The US is leaving Niger's military sector ahead of time. But why? Are they forced to leave? Were they thrown out? Or has their area of interest ended so they are leaving? Why would a master want to stay in a state where people no longer want to be slaves? And this makes them leave before the deadline. Does this case align with the recent news? Let's find out. Nelson Mandela said, "Africa's journey towards sovereignty is not merely a pursuit of independence from colonial legacies, but a resolute stride towards shaping its destiny." And seems like Africa is taking testing in its hands now. For decades, Africa has navigated the complexities of foreign military presence shaping its security landscape. From colonial-era deployments to Cold War proxy conflicts and modern-day counterterrorism operations, external powers have exerted considerable influence over African geopolitics. Niger, akin to many African nations, has long grappled with the complexities of external influence shaping its security and stability. Recently, the US decided to withdraw military equipment from Niger, and it became a pivotal moment in Africa's journey towards reclaiming control over its security apparatus and asserting greater autonomy on the global stage. Historically, African nations have been caught in a web of geopolitical interests and military interventions, often undermining local governance structures and perpetuating cycles of dependency. The withdrawal of US military equipment represents a significant step towards breaking away from this historical pattern. It signifies a shift towards self-reliance and the assertion of African sovereignty over decisions that shape economic, political, and social landscapes. But what's the context of military focus in Africa? The presence of foreign military forces in Africa has been contentious, with critics arguing that it perpetuates a neo-colonial narrative where external powers dictate regional security policies. But Niger is trying to end it. Niger's move to reduce foreign military presence reflects broader sentiments across the continent, favoring indigenous solutions to regional challenges. This shift is not merely about military logistics, but signifies a deeper commitment to crafting policies that are rooted in African realities and aspirations. By scaling back foreign military presence, Niger and other African nations are poised to strengthen their governance structures and enhance their capacity to address internal challenges independently. This empowerment through autonomy extends beyond military affairs to encompass economic development, political stability, and social cohesion. African governments can now prioritize indigenous strategies that resonate with local cultures and address specific regional needs. This includes bolstering national defense capabilities, enhancing conflict resolution mechanisms, and investing in sustainable development initiatives that promote long-term stability. The withdrawal of external military forces thus opens doors for innovative approaches tailored to African contexts, fostering resilience and self-sufficiency. While the withdrawal of US military equipment marks a significant stride towards African sovereignty, it also presents challenges and opportunities. African nations must navigate the complexities of transitioning from external support to self-reliance, ensuring that critical security gaps are effectively managed. This requires strategic investments in training, technology, and regional cooperation frameworks that strengthen collective security architectures. Moreover, the shift towards autonomy opens avenues for diversified international partnerships that prioritize mutual respect and shared prosperity. African nations are increasingly exploring collaborations with emerging global powers like Russia and China, viewing these relationships as opportunities to leverage resources for sustainable development without compromising sovereignty. The withdrawal of US military equipment from Niger reverberates across the Sahel region and beyond, shaping regional security dynamics and influencing global perceptions of African agencies. It signals Africa's evolving role in international relations, where nations assert their right to determine their futures free from external interference. Internationally, the move underscores a broader trend towards multipolarity in global security arrangements, where African nations are pivotal actors in shaping inclusive and equitable frameworks. It challenges traditional narratives of dependency and fosters partnerships based on mutual benefit and shared responsibility. But what does this indicate? Niger, like many African nations, has historically navigated complex relationships with external powers seeking to influence regional stability and security. The The withdrawal of U.S. military equipment signifies a turning point where African nations reclaim control over their security apparatus, mitigating the risk of external exploitation and fostering a climate of self-reliance. This significant decision comes at a crucial juncture in Africa's geopolitical landscape, where nations are increasingly asserting their sovereignty in the face of historical legacies of colonialism and external interference. The presence of foreign military forces, while initially aimed at combating terrorism and stabilizing conflict zones, has often been perceived as perpetuating a narrative of dependency and undermining local governance structures. By reducing foreign military presence, Niger and other African countries are not only asserting greater autonomy, but also signaling a paradigm shift towards self-determination and indigenous solutions to regional challenges. This shift empowers African governments to tailor policies and strategies that are reflective of local contexts, cultures, and aspirations, thereby enhancing their capacity to address multifaceted issues such as security, economic development, and social cohesion. Moreover, the withdrawal of U.S. military equipment opens up opportunities for African nations to strengthen regional cooperation frameworks and forge deeper solidarity among member states. This includes bolstering joint security initiatives like the G5 Sahel Joint Force, which aims to combat terrorism and transnational crime collaboratively. By taking ownership of their security agenda, African nations can foster a more cohesive and integrated approach to regional stability, reducing vulnerabilities and enhancing resilience against external threats. But what does it have to do with the U.S.'s recent decision? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. As the United States reduces its military presence, African nations are increasingly forging partnerships with global players such as Russia and China. These alliances are seen as advocates of non-interference and cooperation, offering Africa opportunities for infrastructural development, technological advancement, and economic diversification that align with the continent's developmental goals. Unlike previous engagements marked by unequal power dynamics, these emerging partnerships emphasize frameworks that prioritize African sovereignty and sustainable development. This shift allows African nations to capitalize on their natural resources and strategic geographical locations, leveraging these alliances to accelerate industrialization and foster regional integration on their terms. The decision by African nations to explore partnerships beyond traditional Western alliances reflects a strategic recalibration of global engagements. As we discussed, historically, Africa has been entangled in relationships that often dictated terms from external perspectives, undermining local autonomy and perpetuating dependency. By diversifying their partnerships, African countries are asserting their agency in shaping development agendas that cater to their unique needs and aspirations. Partnerships with Russia and China present Africa with avenues to enhance infrastructure development through projects such as transportation networks, energy facilities, and telecommunication systems. These investments are crucial for bridging infrastructure gaps that hinder economic growth and connectivity across the continent. Moreover, technological collaborations promise to foster innovation hubs and knowledge exchanges that empower local industries and create sustainable job opportunities. Furthermore, economic diversification is a key component of these partnerships, enabling African nations to reduce dependency on traditional sectors and explore new avenues for growth. By harnessing their natural resources responsibly and promoting value-added industries, African economies can achieve greater resilience and competitiveness in global markets. Central to these new partnerships is a commitment to mutual benefit and respect for African sovereignty. Unlike historical engagements that often sideline local interests, collaborations with Russia and China are framed within frameworks that prioritize win-win outcomes. This approach allows African nations to negotiate terms that safeguard their economic interests, protect natural resources, and promote inclusive development. Moreover, these partnerships underscore Africa's evolving role in shaping global governance structures. By asserting greater influence in international foray and advocating for fair trade practices, African nations are challenging historical narratives of exploitation and forging alliances that foster sustainable development and shared prosperity. The withdrawal of U.S. military equipment from Niger marks a pivotal opportunity for African nations to consolidate regional stability through enhanced collaboration and intra-African initiatives. This strategic shift not only underscores Africa's growing capacity to manage its security challenges, but also lays the foundation for sustainable peace and prosperity across the continent. With reduced external military presence, African governments are increasingly focusing on bolstering regional security mechanisms tailored to address specific regional threats. Initiatives such as the African Union's Peace and Security Architecture, APSA, and the G5 Sahel Joint Counterterrorism Force exemplify Africa's proactive approach to enhancing collective security. These frameworks facilitate coordinated responses to transnational threats like terrorism, organized crime, and cross-border conflicts, promoting stability and resilience within the region. The APSA, for instance, embodies Africa's commitment to maintaining peace through conflict prevention, management, and resolution. It emphasizes a holistic approach that integrates political, diplomatic, and military strategies to address the root causes of instability. By strengthening institutions and fostering cooperation among member states, APSA enhances Africa's ability to mitigate conflicts and promote sustainable development. Beyond security considerations, the withdrawal of U.S. military equipment creates opportunities for African nations to prioritize socio-economic development initiatives that promote inclusive growth and human security. Addressing underlying challenges such as poverty, unemployment, and inadequate infrastructure is crucial for fostering environments conducive to lasting peace and prosperity. African governments are increasingly leveraging intra-African partnerships and regional integration frameworks to drive economic diversification and enhance resilience against external shocks. Initiatives like the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, facilitate trade liberalization and economic cooperation among African countries, unlocking new opportunities for investment, job creation, and shared prosperity. And what future will this have? As Africa enters a new era following the withdrawal of U.S. military equipment from Niger, the continent stands at a pivotal juncture, characterized by both challenges and unprecedented opportunities. This momentous shift signals Africa's commitment to prioritizing sovereignty, charting a course toward inclusive growth and equitable development, and fostering enhanced global partnerships that serve the collective interests of its diverse populations. The withdrawal of U.S. military equipment from Niger signifies more than a mere logistical adjustment. It symbolizes Africa's resilience and determination to carve out its destiny, free from external pressures and exploitation. This pivotal moment underscores Africa's resolve to assert greater autonomy in shaping its economic, political, and social landscapes according to its unique needs and aspirations. African nations are poised to strengthen their governance structures and institutions by reclaiming control over their security apparatus and reducing dependency on external interventions. This empowerment through sovereignty enables Africa to adopt policies and strategies that promote sustainable development, safeguard natural resources, and foster social cohesion across diverse communities. Looking forward, Africa is presented with unprecedented opportunities to harness its abundant resources and talents towards achieving sustainable development goals. The continent's rich cultural diversity, coupled with its vast natural wealth and strategic geographical positions Africa as a key player in the global economy and international relations. The withdrawal of U.S. military equipment from Niger catalyzes a renewed focus on intra-African cooperation and regional integration initiatives. Platforms such as the African Union and sub-regional organizations provide frameworks for collaboration that strengthen solidarity among member states. This collaborative spirit not only enhances collective security measures, but also promotes trade liberalization, infrastructure development, and technological innovation, essential for economic diversification and inclusive growth. As Africa continues to define its place in the global arena, the principles of self-determination, mutual respect, and sustainable development serve as guiding beacons for future progress. African leadership remains committed to forging partnerships that prioritize transparency, accountability, and equitable exchanges. These partnerships are grounded in mutual benefit, fostering a climate where African nations leverage their strengths and comparative advantages to achieve shared prosperity. Moreover, Africa's commitment to sustainable development encompasses environmental stewardship, social inclusion, and human rights protection. By integrating these principles into national policies and international engagements, African nations can navigate global challenges while safeguarding the well-being of current and future generations. But are there any nations who wanted to do the transition and did it effectively? Numerous African nations have successfully navigated transitions away from foreign military presence, illustrating diverse approaches and outcomes. Rwanda, for instance, has transformed from a post-conflict state to a regional leader in peacekeeping and conflict resolution. Through investments in education, technology, and governance reforms, Rwanda has enhanced its security capabilities while promoting economic growth and social cohesion. In West Africa, Ghana's commitment to democratic governance and regional cooperation has positioned it as a stable anchor in the Gulf of Guinea. Ghana's leadership in peacekeeping missions and its proactive engagement in regional security frameworks demonstrate the benefits of homegrown solutions tailored to local contexts. Additionally, the Southern African Development Community (SADC) has leveraged regional cooperation to address cross-border security challenges and promote economic integration. Countries within the SADC framework have collaborated on peacekeeping missions, infrastructure development, and trade facilitation, showcasing the collective strength of regional partnerships in achieving sustainable peace and prosperity. These examples highlight Africa's capacity to leverage internal resources, regional cooperation, and strategic partnerships to navigate transitions toward greater autonomy and resilience. As Africa embarks on a new chapter post-U.S. military withdrawal from Niger, these case studies inspire confidence in the continent's ability to forge a path towards inclusive growth, equitable development, and enhanced global influence on its terms. But one question remains. When Africa said it wanted to move away from the U.S. in terms of military, the U.S. said it would not allow that to happen. So, why is it now taking back its equipment? We know that when Africa signaled its desire to move away from reliance on U.S. military presence, initial reactions from the United States indicated strong resistance. American officials asserted that their strategic interests in the region necessitated continued engagement, and they would not easily relinquish their foothold. However, recent developments in Niger and broader trends across the continent have prompted a significant shift in U.S. policy, leading to the withdrawal of military equipment. One of the pivotal factors driving the U.S. withdrawal is the unprecedented level of grassroots resistance and popular mobilization against foreign military presence. In Niger, widespread public discontent with U.S. policies culminated in massive demonstrations where thousands of citizens took to the streets, demanding an end to external interference. The scale and intensity of these protests underscored a powerful, unified message from the people. They no longer tolerated foreign military bases dictating their national security agenda. This mass mobilization demonstrated the resolve of the Nigerian populace to reclaim their sovereignty and challenge the status quo. The sheer number of people involved and the sustained nature of the protests made it untenable for the U.S. to maintain its presence. Faced with such overwhelming opposition, American officials recognized that their position in Niger had become unsustainable, leading to the decision to withdraw military equipment. Simultaneously, African leaders have been making significant strides in governance and regional cooperation, further diminishing the rationale for a continued U.S. military presence. Across the continent, there has been a concerted effort to strengthen political institutions, enhance transparency, and promote accountability. These reforms have empowered African governments to take greater control of their security apparatus and develop more effective strategies for addressing regional threats. In Niger, the government has implemented comprehensive reforms aimed at improving governance, boosting economic development, and enhancing social services. These measures have not only increased public trust in the government, but have also demonstrated that African nations can manage their security and development needs independently. As African leadership continues to evolve, the ability of external powers to exploit the continent diminishes. The United States, facing a more assertive and self-reliant Africa, finds its traditional methods of influence increasingly ineffective. The departure of U.S. military equipment from Niger signifies a broader transformation in U.S.-Africa relations. Historically, American involvement in Africa has been driven by strategic interests, often at the expense of genuine partnership and mutual respect. Military bases and counterterrorism operations have been central to U.S. policy, reinforcing a narrative of dependency and external control. However, as African nations assert their sovereignty and pursue more balanced international relationships, the dynamics of U.S.-Africa relations are shifting. The United States is being forced to reevaluate its approach, moving away from military interventions towards more cooperative and respectful engagements. This transition reflects a growing recognition that sustainable partnerships must be built on mutual interests, respect for sovereignty, and support for Africa's development goals. Let's sum this up. Africa's current message is unequivocal. It seeks partners, not masters. This statement encapsulates a strategic shift in how African nations approach international relations and economic cooperation. Economically, Africa is increasingly focused on forging partnerships that prioritize mutual benefit and sustainable development. Instead of being passive recipients of aid or resource extraction, African countries are seeking collaborations that promote local industries, job creation, and technology transfer. By fostering these partnerships, Africa aims to build robust economies that can thrive independently and contribute meaningfully to the global market. Politically, Africa is advocating for relationships based on equality and respect for sovereignty. This involves engaging with international partners as equals in decision-making processes and promoting peace and stability within the region. By asserting its independence in diplomacy and governance, Africa aims to strengthen its voice on the global stage and address continental challenges more effectively. Socially and culturally, Africa is embracing its diversity and heritage, while promoting education, innovation, and youth empowerment. This cultural renaissance is driving internal growth and fostering a dynamic environment for sustainable development. And for nations like the US, Africa is no longer a place to own. They can leave, and they are leaving. Yes, the masters are leaving. Do you think this is a good sign? Are you happy about the US leaving on its own? What would happen after this? Does this mark the end of a slave-master relationship? Let us know in the comment section how you see this. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.